feel like I've learned so much in these last 9 months of being a mom, and I've definitely learned some more things about money. So today I'm sharing 5 money lessons that I've learned since becoming a mom. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. I am a first-time mom to my son Peter, who's almost 9 months old now, and I also am obsessed with budgeting, and I loved budgeting before I had a baby, but in these last 9 months I feel like I've learned a lot about life and money. So today I thought that I would share with you some money lessons that I've learned in the last 9 months. So if you are a mom or you're planning to be soon, I hope that this will be some sort of encouragement to you. So if you've been watching my videos for a long time, then you already know this, but if you are new here, just to share a little bit of my story, my husband and I got married when we were right out of college. We had over $80,000 of student loan debt, and so we started budgeting and working at paying off that debt as soon as possible while we were working just entry-level jobs. And we were able to pay off that debt in 2.5 years, and ever since then, we've been working on saving for an emergency fund, saving for retirement. We bought a house. We've been very mindful of our finances over the years, and it's been really cool to see how much that's grown in the last like 5.5 years. So we've always been very mindful of our money and working on our financial goals. And our current financial goals that we're working on right now are saving for retirement. We're saving over 15% to retirement. We're also saving for our son's college, and we're working on paying down our mortgage balance so that we can get rid of PMI soon. And I share all of this because the first money lesson that I've learned in the last 9 months is that life is more important than aggressively working on financial goals. Working on financial goals is so important, and we've been very intense in doing so for the last 5.5 years of our marriage with paying off debt aggressively, saving aggressively. We've cut a lot of things out of our budget so that we could do these financial goals. But the point of budgeting and the point of working on financial goals is so that you can live the life you want to live. So there's really no point to doing all of this if you're not actually going to live life. So here's my little story behind that. So before I had my son and went on maternity leave, I was working full-time in accounting, and my plan with going back to work after maternity leave was to come back at 20 hours a week, and we decided that that's what would be best for us in our budget, because looking at like the cost of childcare versus the cost of me not working as much, like it seemed to be a straight wash for me to do like 20 hours a week instead, and then I could be home with my son more, work remotely, try to make it work. I always had the dream of being a stay-at-home mom, but I knew that financially it would be really hard to do. So I actually started my business here on YouTube, and everything that I do here earns me money, which I'm really grateful for. And then also, honestly, with the pandemic, the biggest blessing out of all of it has been working from home. So I knew that I had the option to work from home, like I could work when Peter was napping, like all of these things. But I just always had the dream to be a stay-at-home mom. So when maternity leave was wrapping up, when Peter was like 11 weeks old, I felt so overwhelmed with the thought of even working 20 hours a week at my day job, because I also worked here on YouTube, which I do at least, at that time, I was doing 20-ish hours a week as well. And so it just seemed like so much. So at that time, we were trying to make the decision to see if I could reduce my day job hours even a little bit more, down to 10 hours a week instead of 20. And while I know that that's not a whole lot, it still felt like a big decision. And we just ran our budget and saw that it was gonna work out, like we'd still be able to cover all of our expenses and do all these necessary things, maybe even a couple fun things, but we just wouldn't be able to put as much to our financial goals. Mind you, we are still working on these financial goals, we just weren't going to be able to do them as aggressively. But we decided that life was going to be more important to us than really aggressively working on these financial goals. So the story goes even further, because I was working 10 hours for my employer while also doing YouTube for a couple months, and it was honestly still too much. It felt so overwhelming, and at that point my YouTube channel started picking up a lot more, and I was receiving more income from my YouTube channel, and we thought about it some more and just decided that it would be best if I just quit my day job so that I could really be present and at home with my son Peter, and then do YouTube on the side and have more time. Again, that meant that we would reduce the amount of income that we had coming in, which means less going to financial goals, but we decided that life was going to be more important than very aggressively attacking these goals for a season. But at the end of the day, it ended up that I tried to give my notice, and my employer asked if I would do 5 hours a week on my own time. and that felt so minimal to me. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. So that's currently what I do, is I work a whole 5 hours a week on my own time. So technically I still do work for an employer, but it's very, very minimal. So all that to say, we decided that for a season, it made more sense for us to reduce the income that we had coming in so that we could just really enjoy this season of life, and knowing that this meant that it was only for a time and it doesn't need to be forever. So I think that a lot of women, when you are deciding to be a stay-at-home mom, it can feel like such a huge decision because you're making this like commitment. And you could just do it for a year and see what you think. It doesn't need to be a forever thing. It can be just for a season. So we made the decision to prioritize me being more of a stay-at-home mom for at least a season. And that meant reducing the amount that we were able to put towards our financial goals. Mind you, we're still able to work on these financial goals, cover all of our expenses, but just not put as much. Which also leads me to the second money lesson that I learned during this time. In this season of being a new mom, we've especially just been trusting God with our finances because I'm kind of staying home. I have my own business, which is up and down. I feel like I've had just more of like an open mindset to money, and with that I've learned that making more money is possible. I think that so many times we get into the scarcity mindset thinking like, well, this is all there's going to be, this is all we're going to make, but you can make more money if you really want to. It's honestly been so shocking of where we are now in like February 2021, because last summer when we were making this decision for me to be a stay-at-home mom, that really cut down on our budget and the monthly income that we were receiving. But since then, like I said, my business has grown more. I've been making more money from my business, and then also Jacob got a new job, which came with a great pay raise. And I've been really grateful for these increases in income. And I feel like just getting out of that scarcity mindset of thinking like, this is how it's always going to be, like just getting out of that mindset, we've made even more money, and I've made more money now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, like working on my business, than I did at my day job. So I feel like I've just realized that there are always additional opportunities to make more money if you really need it. And so if your desire is to be a stay-at-home mom, I bet that you can find a way to make $500 a month for your family for supplemental income. The third money lesson is something that I already knew before, but I feel like has really solidified during this time, and that's the lesson that spending money on things that are important to you is totally great. Now, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I'm a huge proponent of this, and I believe that a budget is not restrictive, but instead it gives you the permission to spend. And with that, you can totally splurge and spend money on the things that you really want, which though does mean that you're going to have to cut back on the things that don't matter as much to you. So when you are pregnant and you're looking at all of the baby things, there's definitely some things that are quite expensive, and I'm not going to lie, I purchased some of them, like this new bassinet and the UPPAbaby Vista stroller. Those have some pretty hefty price tags, but honestly, we've loved them. So my thought is always that if you have the money in the budget and this is something that you truly want, then go ahead and spend the money on it. I'm so grateful that we did buy this new, because that helped our baby sleep, it helped us sleep, it was very valuable for us. That may not be the case for everyone, but I totally don't regret spending money on something that we wanted. Which leads me to lesson number 4, which is that people will judge you for how you spend your money on baby things. I know I share my life here on YouTube. I share my motherhood journey, my finance journey, so of course I'm going to have people who like to insert their opinions and comments about what I'm either buying or not buying. So I understand if you're not sharing your whole life on social media, this may be different, but I'm pretty sure that you'd still get some comments and backlash. For me, I've actually received some really nasty comments calling me awful things for purchasing the stroller that I did, even though I wanted it, I had the money in the budget, I actually found ways to save. I saved like over 30% on it, but I still got a ton of backlash saying that it was ridiculous that I spent that much money on a stroller. And the same goes for even buying this new bassinet. And I totally get these were high ticket items, but they were important to me and I've still found great value in them even 9 months later. Being in this season of motherhood, I realized how many mom shamers there are out there, which is so unfortunate because I feel like us as moms just really need to stick together and support one another, and it's very discouraging to see that there's a lot of mom shaming going around. And I definitely feel like budget mom shaming is totally a thing too. You will probably get shamed for splurging on an item if you decide to splurge, and you'll probably get shamed if you decide to go a more budget friendly route. Either way, you can't win. And that's what I've kind of learned in this season of budgeting and motherhood, is that someone will disagree with you, and that's okay. You just need to do what's best for your budget and for your family, and the hater's gonna hate. And the fifth money lesson I've learned is that it's still important to have personal spending money for yourself. I know that when you're becoming a mom, it's so exciting, really, to be shopping for all the baby things and the baby clothes, so cute, and the baby toys, like all the things. But it's also important that you set a budget to have personal spending money for yourself. So this was something that we did in our budget before we had a baby, is we each got a certain amount of personal spending money that we could either use or save for the next month. It's definitely gone up over the years as we've had increases in income, but now it's around like $100 a month. And I found that it's actually really important for me to still have my own personal spending money, even if I don't spend a ton of it, but just for me to have the permission to treat yourself. Mind you, if we weren't in a pandemic, I'd probably be doing other things with my personal spending money. I know that some salons are open and stuff, but I would love to go get like my nails done every once in a while, which is something that I'm not doing right now because I don't feel super comfortable with the pandemic. But even just like getting a few things at Target for myself, or just things that I like. As a mom, it's still so important to take care of yourself, even though sometimes that can feel like the last thing on the list. So I would highly recommend budgeting in some personal spending money that you can spend freely on yourself, whether that's for an item or an experience, whatever that may be. It's definitely important for you to also still be caring for yourself. So those are my 5 money lessons that I've learned since becoming a mom. If you are a mom, leave me a comment down below and share what is one money lesson that you've learned, or how has motherhood changed your finances. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any new videos, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in that next one. Bye.
Did you ever stop and think